Hello, Player One. Welcome to the Gaming History Club. My name is Gabby.
Hello, and I'm JP. Creating a character might be one of the most video game things there is. We can become whoever we like, whether it's a goofy pink haired goblin or a super strong human that looks suspiciously a lot like yourself. Let's dig into the history of character creation.
So, JP, what's your favorite character customization system in games?
Yeah, I've never really thought about it much until researching this episode, but one thing I can tell you for certain is that, I am very much about the hairstyles. Give me, 100 plus hairstyles to choose from,
And you're happy with that,
and,
yeah?
and I'll be pretty happy choppy about it, yeah. Also, if you have, 100 plus beard options that I can mess around with, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah, okay, I get what you mean.
yeah.
I think one thing really stood up for me, probably Fallout 4 would be one of my favorite. I really like that one.
Oh, okay, Fallout 4, I see. Well, Baldur's Gate 3 also stands out to me as
Oh,
a
yeah,
very solid, yeah.
that was really fun though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
that's true.
very, very good.
Well, I guess nothing actually beats The Sims 4, but anyway, we can talk about this like the whole day.
Yeah, instead, let's ask the question, what exactly is character customization? Well, so in many video games, especially online RPGs, you create your own character right at the start of the game, right? And it's more than just a name and a gender or choosing from a list of characters.
Yes, so depending on the game, you might be able to tweak their facial features or body shape, hairstyle, voice, even down to the pitch and accent. Some games go further than just the physical shape, though. They let you define their personality traits or backstory choices or specialized skills like stealth, charisma, or brute strength. And there are also games that let you do all that with addition of non-human races as well. So you could be a Khajiit or an orc, an elf, robot, you name it, even a walking cactus if you like.
I would like to be a walking cactus, as a matter of
Me
fact.
too, actually. Yes.
Yeah. And this is the kind of deep character customization that we're exploring in today's episode. So we're not just picking from a lineup of preset heroes or swapping out armor mid game, but we're talking about actually shaping your character from scratch.
The concept of customizing your character didn't really start with video games. It actually comes from tabletop role playing games. Of course, most famously Dungeons and Dragons. In D&D, players choose their race, class, background, and other stats and traits that define their character. So there's nothing visual really other than if you're probably dressing up as one of them, but it's all in the player's imagination. But you can see the core idea of shaping your character in the story. That's the basis for character customization that comes later in video games.
You might assume that visual customization would have happened anyway, but I mean, back in the 1970s, when video games were just about being born, there really wasn't much use for customizing characters. I mean, most things looked like, Space Invaders or Pong.
Yeah, how would you even customize the paddle, right? But yeah, around that time, making any video game was already a breakthrough. As long as the game could tell player one from player two or the computer enemies apart, basically, that was more than enough.
Absolutely. However, the tabletop D&D game was getting really, really popular, and the students who had access to university computers, they began adapting the tabletop experience and putting it into the computers in the early 70s. Before home computers were widely available like they are to us now, back in the early 70s, it was mostly in places like the University of Illinois at the Urbana-Champaign campus where early role-playing video games were being made.
Yeah, because this is where we find the very first games that let players name their character and roll virtual dice to randomly generate their attributes like strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution, and hit points. And yeah, these early computer games like Pedit 5, Dungeon, and D&D, the one with all small caps, D&D, the letters, basically. They were created by university students on a revolutionary computer system called Plato. Again and again, we talk about Plato.
Yes, I will never get tired talking about Plato, but for anyone who's listening to us for the first time, perhaps, Plato is short for Programmed Logic for Automatic Teaching Operations. And it was launched back in 1960 as a networked learning platform, but it became so much more than that. So, decades before the internet, Plato already supported things like chat rooms, forums, screen sharing, and multiplayer games. It was absolutely crazy, and I can't wait to talk about it in more depth at some point in the future, like I always say we will do. But anyway, the customization in these games basically boiled down to assigning your character with some attribute points, right? It's not like graphic at all, like changing their face or something. So, where did visually changing your character actually come from?
Well, it's surprisingly difficult to pinpoint the very first game that offered a true character creator, basically, one where you could visually shape your avatar in a meaningful way. So, throughout the 1980s, plenty of MUDs or multi user dungeons and RPGs let players choose from a small list of portraits or icons that represent their character. In a way, it gives the illusion of identity, but not customization.
Yeah, so an example here would be Pool of Radiance from 1988. So, this was one of the first games to adapt the advanced Dungeons and Dragons rule set. And this one allowed players to select from a variety of pre drawn portraits and name their character as well. So, it's definitely a step forward, but it still just feels like picking like from a selection rather than customizing the character truly, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's not like you can actually change around the face at this time just yet. But other games teased us with the idea of character customization, like Labyrinth from 1986, developed by Lucasfilm Games. They let you name your character, choose a gender, and even pick your favorite color. So your shirt would change to match your favorite color, basically.
Yeah, but yet again, we're not quite there yet. So these choices, they kind of hinted at individuality, but it didn't give us the real power yet to really make the character from scratch, ground up, exactly like we want. We're still just picking and choosing like different little bits and bobs, right?
Yeah, and also, does choosing a t shirt color really count as customizing your character? I would say not really.
But one game really stands out here for a very good early attempt at visual character customization, and it's a Japanese RPG called The Black Onyx, developed by Bulletproof Software and released in 1984 for various home computers. So, in this game, you create a party of five characters to accompany you on your quest to recover the legendary Black Onyx.
So, while the system might sound quite modest by today's standard, it was actually quite ambitious for the time. You could choose from 50 different hairstyles and 5 costume colors for each character. So, that means in theory, players could generate up to 250 visually distinct characters from the options.
Yeah, so let's put that into context for 1984. So we're playing games like Super Mario Brothers and The Legend of Zelda. You have pretty much zero character customization here. And, the Black Onyx allowed you to come up with 250 unique designs to, customize your character. Well, five of them actually, to be just the way you want them to look. So that's actually a really, really big step here for character customization.
So, for quite a while, basically during the 80s, character customization mostly fell into two familiar categories. The first one choosing a portrait to represent your character, and the second one cycling through a few presets, maybe that 5 different heads or body types, and picking the one that felt closest to you. These were small but meaningful choices that gave players a sense of ownership over their digital avatar.
Things began to evolve very quickly in the 1990s with the arrival of 16-bit graphics, home computers getting better and better, and of course, finally, we're getting 3D games now taking place as well. So, one standout example here is Midwinter 2 Flames of Freedom, developed by Maelstrom Games and released in 1991. This was a real bold blend of genres: open world, first person, RPG. It was a little bit of everything mixed into one.
So, yes, Midwinter 2 Flames of Freedom. This one didn't just let you pick a face, you actually can make a face. You, as a player, could build your character's face by selecting from preset options, from head shape, nose, mouth, eyes, hair, mustache, everything basically. And so the face you actually can just create however you wish. Most of the categories had about 10 or more variations, so you can definitely choose something that's pretty unique for yourself. But then it took it even further. You can also adjust the vertical placement of the facial features, so you can make the eyes tiny bit higher or the mouth tiny bit lower. So yeah, for 1991, that was pretty sci-fi, right?
Yes, it was very sci fi, but it was also psychological because you can also assign your strengths in areas like charm, reason, pleading, bribery, authority, threats, deception, and my favorite, sex appeal.
Ooh, the most important one.
Yes, of course. And even more, you still get to choose your character's gender. And interestingly enough, as well, this didn't restrict your options. So if you chose to play a female character, you can still just put on a beard on the character. That's absolutely fine. You go straight forward. So for a game release in 1991, yeah, it was very much ahead of its time.
Also in the early 1990s, RPGs like The Elder Scrolls, Arena, and Daggerfall began to move away from the old school system of randomly generated stats, that classic roll until you get something that doesn't suck kind of approach. It started to be replaced. So now, instead, we have a new standard letting players distribute their skill points manually, so you can tailor characters to your preferred playstyle. It's quite a small shift, but a meaningful one because it turned players from simply gambling with what you got into being more of a strategist. But probably the biggest change in the 90s, though, that character customization wasn't only within the RPG's boundaries anymore. Sports games, in particular, saw the potential and they leaned into it pretty hard.
Yeah, so NBA Hang Time from 1996 is a good example here. So this was developed by Midway, and it wasn't just about building your dream team here, it was about building your dream weirdos. You could really create some very peculiar characters, and I mean potato heads, clown faces, roosters with blonde hair, or even slap a kid's face onto a towering NBA body. It was all possible in NBA Hang Time. It was chaotic, it was hilarious, and it was customization as comedy. But what if you want to take it a step further? What if you don't want to be a rooster with blonde hair? What if you want to be literally you inside the video game?
So things progressed quite fast here because by the late 90s, Kim began flirting with a strange new idea that I'm not sure I'm totally on board with. So, yeah, what if you could literally put yourself into the game? So, this started small. Some games let you upload a photo that you can use as a custom portrait.
Yeah, so for instance, Baldur's Gate 1, the Enhanced Edition from 1998. So that game let you swap out your character's headshot with any image that you wanted. Nothing like leading a party of adventurers with a badly cropped JPEG of your cat.
Yeah, because you can just upload a picture. That's crazy.
That's right.
Yeah, but things got even weirder from here. In NBA Live 2000, you could actually upload a photo to map onto a 3D custom player model. So imagine if you have a very embarrassing picture of yourself when you were 12, probably wearing sunglasses. Yeah, you can put that into the game. They will map it into a 3D version. And that 12-year-old you can dunk alongside Michael Jordan in the game. Yeah, that's totally possible, apparently.
And then we also have Leisure Suit Larry Love for Sale from 1996. So in this game, not only can you upload your face, you can also upload your pre-recorded voice lines, so you could actually very awkwardly flirt your way through the game as well. Certainly this was a very uncanny valley era of video games.
But of course, the biggest leap forward in how we shape our digital selves came with The Sims 2, which was developed by Maxis and released in 2004. So, for the first time, players could literally sculpt their character's face not just by choosing between presets, but actually fine tuning individual facial features with intuitive sliders. So, for example, if you want to make the chin a little rounder, nudge the nose outward just a touch, or raise those pretty cheekbones, you could definitely do that with The Sims.
Yeah, Sims 2 truly offered unparalleled amount of choices than anything we've had previously. You could adjust the jaw width, the nose length, the eye shape, the cheek height. Gabby, how much more could you actually adjust here?
Yeah, and it also goes beyond what's on the face because you also can customize your hair, skin tone, and put glasses on your character or hats and other accessories. So, yeah, definitely pretty wide selection, pretty wide range that you can do with The Sims 2.
I mean, there has been earlier titles like WWE SmackDown and Second Life, both from 2003, that were already experimenting with sliders, but none took it to the mainstream as hard as The Sims 2 did. The Sims 2, it was very intuitive, and just the amount of customization options you had, and it were also modular, and you can just ever so slightly fine tune things. It was just absolutely incredible, and still games to this day will probably, try and get a little close, if they can, to Sims 2, if possible.
Yeah, because the character creation system in The Sims 2 basically a mixture of a dollhouse, modeling tool, and in a way genetic experiment lab all rolled into one.
Yeah, you're right, because I mean, it wasn't just about the face, it's basically like shaping their soul, right? You got the five personality sliders as well. So, the neat, outgoing, active, playful, nice. And they could also be fine tuned according to 16 archetypes. What else did we have, Gabby?
Yeah, they can have so much more. Zodiac signs. They also have life aspirations like romance, knowledge, family. They also have wants and fears, turn ons and turn offs, and all of those that will influence how your sim will behave and who they will be attracted to and how they will see the world.
And they quietly introduced a groundbreaking genetic system. So it's this kind of deep simulation we wouldn't see again for like another decade or so. So every sim had a visible appearance, but also like a hidden genetic template. And it's kind of like a blueprint used to create a quote unquote biological offspring, right? And then you also had facial features like the eye shape, the jaw width, or the nose height we've talked about before. And they're stored as like a numeric slider value behind the scenes. But when the Sims had a baby, the game would randomly pull each trait from one parent or blend the two to kind of mimic like genes in the real world.
Yeah, and the children might resemble the mom or the dad or even a long lost grandparent. So you're not only designing a sim when you play this, you're designing a family tree that's encoded with heredity.
The Sims 2 set an incredibly high bar, so high in fact that even a modern character creator would probably struggle to get just that level of detail and freedom and intuitive design that The Sims 2 was able to manage in its game.
But of course, it's not only The Sims 2, right? Because they carry that and even getting in more detail in the next Sims games. So, yeah, The Sims definitely set a really high bar as the whole franchise, I would say.
I mean, researching for this episode has been kind of difficult. There isn't really much out there on like character creation systems and games. But from what I can tell, it really is a little bit that The Sims can be thanked for big games now, like, Cyberpunk 2077, Baldur's Gate 3. I think The Sims really did pave the way for those really in depth, detailed, crazy character customizations as well.
And yes, since then, customization has expanded basically beyond just faces and fashion. Now we can shape vehicles, weapons, pets, and even the world itself within the video games. So, yeah, it definitely goes beyond that.
Yeah, it might not be a key feature for every single player because I know some happily will just stick to the default character and that's that. But I mean, for many of us, character creation, that's something that will take many, many hours before we start even the real game.
Yeah, and that's definitely the case for you, right?
Oh yes, definitely. What is realistically the longest we've ever took creating a character, you think?
I think Baldur's Gate was.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think a good hour, like legitimately 1 hour, because we did sometimes snack
Ponder
break.
over
Yeah.
it.
So with all that, Player One, I hope you enjoyed this episode, which was actually one of the harder ones for us to research this time around. Let us know if you have any favorite games with character creation systems in them. Let us know by dropping us a message on our website, gaminghistory.club.
And as usual, new episodes of Gaming History Club are released every other Wednesday, so make sure you subscribe and follow us on our social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook as Gaming History Club.
Come back in a couple of weeks, Player One, when we look at X stations and Playtendos. It's time to explore the underground. See ya.